Okay, gang, Mike Anthony here, and I want to talk about PulseChain because PulseChain is what I have been using lately. I have converted most things over to PulseChain that I like, and the reason why is because actually it's just cheaper. If you're anybody who's been using crypto or looking at crypto or most likely bought crypto, you probably did it on the Ethereum network, especially if it wasn't Bitcoin. If it's Bitcoin, you did it on the Bitcoin network. But if it's anything other than Bitcoin, you probably bought it on Ethereum. And Ethereum is, as you know, extremely expensive. And I can't stand paying Ethereum fees, especially if I want to trade or swap things and swap into something else. I mean, the fees on Ethereum is astronomical, and you normally have to wait until the lowest traffic day where people aren't using it as much, and that seems to be on a early Sunday morning, Saturday night / Sunday morning, that you would normally have to wait to get the best price on Ethereum to do anything. So, you know, it's not convenient to have to wait until after 11 p.m. on a Saturday night in order to get anything done. So I started moving everything over to PulseChain, and the reason why is because I started using something called Hex, and I started buying something called Hex, not using it, but Hex is the first coin to come out and use this network because it was created before this network, and you know the person who created it is Richard Hart. So he created the Hex token first, and then he created PulseChain that went live, as you see here, went live back in May of 2023. And also the exchange, which is PulseX. So now you have Pulse, PulseX, and Hex. And Hex is on the Ethereum network. So this page right here, this is just PulseChain.com, and you can get to this page, and it gives you some live pulse statistics on Go Pulse. That's the this is one of the this is the swapping app. And where does Go? This is Go Pulse right here. Go Pulse gives you some stats to the Pulse token. So basically, if you're using the Pulse chain, you need some Pulse token, just like when you're using Ethereum, you need ETH. It's the same equivalent, except for Ethereum, you need a lot more. And then you have Hex, and this is something called incentive token that they came out with. Pulse Hex is the exchange. If you want to take part in the exchange, buy PulseX. I believe there is a lot of upside to this, and for several reasons. I won't go into that much detail. But going back to the PulseChain.com website, this shows you how to add it to MetaMask. You could just click this, and it'll automatically add the network. Because when you're on MetaMask, you have a bunch of networks. You have you'll have to go and switch networks. So you have to select a network. So there's Ethereum, and these are the ones that I add. Some of these are already here. Some of these I added myself. Like I added this BNB chain. I added this Polygon network. PulseChain. This is the one. This is what happens when you add this right here. It shows you how to do it, or you could do it manually yourself. But you would hit Add Network, and then you'll put Add Network manually, and then that's when you're going to put all the info from this page right here in there, so that you get the PulseChain network, and then you can start moving coins into PulseChain. And how I do that is you got to use an Ethereum, because if you're swapping over from Ethereum, then you're going to have to go to an Ethereum exchange, and that's going to be your typical Uniswap. And then here's another one that I like to use, which is called Dodo Exchange. And I'll put these links in the beginning in the description of my video. But this is app.dodoex.io. So app.dodoex.io. It says it right here, dodoex.io. So this is it right here. And this is how I would go from Ethereum to, like, you can't go directly to PulseChain because it doesn't exist on any of these major networks. So you have to literally manually what's called bridge it over, and I'll show you how to do that. But the main thing I was doing is I was taking US dollar TREZOR, not TREZOR, US dollar Tether, and we'll talk about TREZOR later. So, but Tether, US dollar Tether, or anything else, or you can use regular Ethereum or Polygon Matic, some of the major, there's ETH, some major coins here that's on the Ethereum network. And I was actually moving them into Hex. And you can see that I did it with US dollar Tether. See, I still have TREZOR on my mind. Tether, I swapped some chilies. I swapped some US dollar coin into Hex. US dollar coin into Hex. Because once I have Hex on the Ethereum network, I can now swap that. I can bridge it over to PulseChain. So what I was doing with this is I was actually staking this on Hex staking, which is right here. This is the stake right here. This is how you stake Hex, even though this isn't staked on Ethereum. This is on the PulseChain. So, but what I was doing was, you could see that says Ethereum. So I was buying Hex on Ethereum, and then I was staking it. And as I staked it, I had like a whole bunch of stakes. Like I made a stake out of this one, a stake out of this one, a stake out of this one, so I had like 10 stakes all going on the Ethereum network. And for me to end those stakes, and I did end them recently, and it cost me over $100 in ETH because this was on the Ethereum network. So to end those stakes, it was costing me like 15, 20 bucks. I did it late at night again on a Saturday night. I had to wait till it was like after 11 o'clock on Saturday to get the cheapest price. And I got like $8 on some of them, but others were costing me 15 and 20 bucks. But I know I had 10 stakes, and I ended them all for about 100 bucks. And that is just ridiculous. It's astronomical. And I am so sick and tired of paying Ethereum fees that I moved everything over. Once I ended those stakes, I moved all of my Hex over to PulseChain. And how you do that is, it says it right here on PulseChain.com. You can check out the brand new Explorer and bridge. So you got to bridge it over. So I'll go there right now. Click here on bridge, and it takes you to this where you can open up different types of. You can open up a bridge here. This is just this is the original code on a decentralized network. So you can open it up this way, or you can open it up from your own desktop, have your computer itself run it. And but I would just choose this one here, the top one, and then you get to PulseChain.bridge. Actually, it's not PulseChain.bridge. It's actually bridge.pulsechain.com. But this takes you to a more secure, decentralized website. So that's what that link was for. So I went into here, and then you can now bridge it from Ethereum. So if I'm taking it PulseChain, this is from PulseChain to the Ethereum network. You can bridge. If I want to send something back to the Ethereum network, I would use this, but I don't do that. I would okay, it wants me to use. Okay, this is just switching my MetaMask. So because you need a MetaMask wallet or a Trust wallet or something like that, just to move your coins into. Your own self-custody wallet is what you need. That's Ethereum based. So I'm using MetaMask. So that's where it's getting this from. So if I want to go from MetaMask, Ethereum, anything that I have stored on MetaMask using the Ethereum network, I want to move it over to PulseChain. So just a little while ago, I had like, I don't know, just a little bit, less than 20 bucks of US dollar Tether. And I moved that over here. And if I had some, I don't have anything in there, but if I did, I would just put in, it would say max. It says balance because I have nothing there. But before I had 16 bucks, so you would just hit max and it'll just put whatever's there in there. So say it was $16, let's say. And it will go ahead and calculate how much, and you would hit, it wouldn't say insufficient balance because you would actually have something here. So you would hit the approval because you have to approve the bridge, and that'll cost you a couple bucks because again we're moving from Ethereum. There's no fees on PulseChain bridge itself. It says it right here, the bridge fee. There's no bridge fees, but there is going to be an Ethereum network fee because you can't do anything about it. It's because it's coming from Ethereum, which is a different network, and they are going to charge you fees. So you can't do anything about that. You have to pay the Ethereum fees. So to get an approval, it's going to cost you a few bucks, and maybe somewhere between $3 and $6 to get the approval. And then once you have to approve, you also have to pay another fee to actually do the swap. So first there's an Ethereum approval fee to approve the coin, because with each coin you have to do an approval. Like I have to approve, and you usually only have to do this one time. So you just pick one. You know, if you're going to use Tether, you're going to have to get approved for that. You're going to have to prove that. If you want to use, if you want to use DAI, which is a stable coin, you're going to have to get proof of that. Now it's not going to change since I'm making a video here. You know, that usually changes right away, but something's going on here. Okay. Again, it's only because I'm making a video. So but you get the gist of it. You know, whatever coin you want to use, if it's DAI, Ethereum, US dollar, Tether, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, you're gonna need to get approval for that, and that's gonna cost you a few bucks. And then when you actually make the swap of how much of whatever you bought on Ethereum, how much you want to move over to PulseChain, after the approval, there's going to be another fee, and that one's going to be more. That one's going to be like anywhere between $10 and $20 right now. It appears to be, as I'm speaking, because that's about how much I paid to move it over. Could be less, depending on the time of frame, the time of day you're doing it there. It finally changed. So I also had some DAI in here that I wanted to move over to PulseChain. Because once you move it over to PulseChain, it'll have its direct copy over there in the PulseChain network. So on Ethereum, we call it eDAI because of it's a DAI from Ethereum. And then once it gets to PulseChain, it'll become pDAI, or DAI from PulseChain. And when you move things in and out on PulseChain, the fees are a lot cheaper. I mean, I'm talking about 10,000 plus times cheaper. Whereas I just moved over, you know, a bunch of stuff, and it cost me like a nickel. Whereas Ethereum, it cost me like $40 to move everything. So that's a big difference. So I'm moving everything over. Not only that, but you know, when you're dealing with Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's a lot of scam. There is, you know, most of the things on Ethereum are scams, except Ethereum itself. But a lot of these coins that come out every day, it's just crazy how scammy they are. And they, you know, there's a lot of blood in the water. There's a lot of sharks that are just eating people alive. They're stealing money from everybody. And they do this mainly through the Bitcoin and Ethereum networks, and because those are the top dogs, right? Well, you know, I'm kind of telling people not to do that these days, especially if you're an everyday person, because, let me see. I wrote an article about Bitcoin is not where you want to be if you're an average Joe, because you need a lot of money. Like here it's called right here, Bitcoin will not make most people rich. And that's why I wrote it, because you need $40,000 first of all, and the average person does not have that. And the average person just wants to make a little money. Well, you're not going to do it on a Bitcoin, because you need 40,000 a coin. I mean, those days are over. Like I wrote in this article, the time to have bought Bitcoin was back in 2009 to 2015. You know, I started telling people about Bitcoin in 2015, and it was still under $300. Today, you need $40,000 a coin. When I wrote this article, Bitcoin was around 30,000. So, PulseChain, and then I showed you how to stake hack, buy and stake hacks. You can watch this video as well if you want to learn how to do that in stake hacks on the Ethereum network. But now, I'm updating this. Like I'm now taking what's on the Ethereum network and I'm moving it over to the PulseChain network. That's all I'm doing. And so why I'm moving over to PulseChain? Again, because of the Bitcoin fee. The Ethereum fees are extremely high, and I'm sick of it. I can't stand paying that fee. I'm going to move everything over to Ethereum, and once you've paid the fees, the Ethereum bridge fees, because PulseChain doesn't charge you any fees, but Ethereum does. So once you pay those fees, you don't have to worry about Ethereum ever again. You can just do everything on PulseChain. So, and whenever you do trade in and out of coins directly on PulseChain using the PulseChain swap app, which is right here. Now that I'm on PulseChain, you have to buy some Pulse. Just like when you're on Ethereum, you have to buy Ethereum. Only Pulse is a lot cheaper. Like right now, this is the price of Pulse. as I'm making this video. It's 0.00011116. So, you know, $10 is going to get me 0.00011116. $10 is going to give me 89,600 pulse. That's plenty. Like there's a site that even gives away 1,000 pulse, just for starting to use the network. But once you're on there, and I'm going to put links to all these things, but you can get them, all of them, using PulseChain.com. Shows you the bridge, and you can how you could trade on your PRCs on PulseX. That's where I was just at. You open up another secure website, and it takes you to here. Okay, that's where you can trade your coins using here. You could trade in and out. I could trade from Pulse to PulseX. I can trade. I could bridge over my hex, and it'll say, see how it says hex from Ethereum? When you bridge it over, your hex will appear here. If you bought some on Ethereum, it'll appear here. And then now I could take that and I can move it into buy some more pulse with it. I can, buy whatever I want that's on here. Here's some more US dollar tether. There's a bunch you can buy. So, Ethereum. You could do, here it is, wrapped Ethereum from Ethereum, US dollar tether from Ethereum, DAI from Ethereum, wrapped ETH from, you can wrap it up, and you can use anything you want, but only it's going to cost you 10,000 times cheaper, because you're going to pay in Pulse. Whenever you buy something here, the fee is going to be in Pulse, not Ethereum, because we're on PulseChain network. We got away from Ethereum network. So when you're buying Pulse, which is right here, you're going to be paying a lot less. Like I just did a transaction that was 460 pulse, which only comes to 5 cents in dollar terms. Whereas on Ethereum, it would have cost me $5. So that's the difference of why I'm using PulseChain. And it occurred to me that other people might want to know how to do that. So I'm making this video to talk about bridging over to Pulse. And a lot of things that there's so many, scam artists and grifters and in Ethereum and Bitcoin. And another thing is, like, these coins that come out, they all come out on Ethereum, right? We don't have that on PulseChain. First of all, this project is done, right? There's no locked coins in the background. There's no venture capitalists or special people that got this first. Whereas by the time you see it, you can't make money on it. And I'll give you an example, right? And I hate this too. And I'm seeing this so much, I can't stand it. These coins that you'd like to be a part of, that you can't because you don't get the invite. But all these other YouTube influencers do, and I've seen them. I've seen people literally, shill a coin that they got first. You didn't get a chance to see it, but only after they got in at dirt cheap. Now they're putting it on there, showing it to their audiences, and they're mentioning it, and they're saying things like, oh, well, look at me, but don't trust me, or, I'm just a guy on the internet, some of them say. And, So don't, they have to give you that legal ease, but they know you're going to do whatever they say because they're talking about it. But what's the one I'm talking about? Let me see. There's one coin in particular I saw. I was like, where did that come from? And it made like a ton of money. Here it is, Celestia. This wasn't around that long ago, but it went from nothing to $2.5 billion like that. By the time I saw it, it was already too late. So let's look at this Celestia here. The Celestia came out back in October. Well, actually, no. Let me do all here. So this Celestia, yeah, so appears to be October. Looks like it debuted on the exchanges on Halloween, this past Halloween. And I didn't know anything about this until it was already, look at this. The day it came out, it was like $2.20 at least on this coin market cap, which it started to appear in the exchanges. So what exchange is this thing on? It's on Binance, it's on Coinbase, it's on OKX, Bybit, KuCoin. A lot of these can't be used in the United States. Binance, you have to use Binance US, but it's not there. It's on Coinbase. This is the main one for the United States. So it's only one. You can only buy it there. But before it even showed up there, it was $2. $2. And then look this. A couple weeks later, it shot up to $5, $6. It's tripled the price in in less than a month. But I can tell you one thing, there was a lot of people that got this for pennies or less. So they already were getting $2 from all the retailers. And this is what I mean. Like, I didn't know about it until after it was already $2. You didn't know about it neither. But I guarantee you there was a bunch of YouTube influencers that knew about it, and a bunch of venture capitalists that knew about it, and they were buying this at less than 1 cent. Those people are up like 2,000 times their money. 2,000 times their money. While you're buying it now at $15. It went as high as $20 just a week ago. $20, right? And now it's down to 15. But look where it started, $2, and that was just a couple months ago. And you didn't know anything about that. By the time I found out, and by the time you found out by looking here on CoinMarketCap, you would have seen it at $2. And you say, oh, well, that's cheap because look, it's $15 now. No, because the people who got in way before you seen this had already bought it for like 2 cents or less. They might have bought it for 0.002 cents. But you didn't know anything about it then because you were not invited to the ICO. And that's what I can't stand about this. And this is on Ethereum, of course. You know, right? Actually, it's on something called Osmosis. I don't know what that is, but what is that? What's the name of this? Celestia TIA. Can I buy this on Dodo here? I don't know. TIA. Yeah. This is it right here. TIA. And so it does have an Ethereum component. So I'd be able to buy it on Ethereum, which is where most people are going to buy it at. And that's it. Right? Let me delete that. So my point is that there's all these grifters and people who get this way before you and you don't have a choice. But on PulseChain, you can buy Pulse because it's a finished product, right? It's a finished product. And I can go and buy this. And this is on, I would buy Hex first and then I would swap it into Pulse. But this has been out since May. This just came out in May. And it was at 0.0002 cents. And it went down a lot in value and it just started going up again recently. So, but this isn't a thing, especially when you're going to use it just to cover your fees. And so that's what I would do. So I buy some of this Pulse first so that I can cover some fees that I'm going to use in the PulseChain. And again, $10 gets you like 89,000 of them because it's so cheap, you know. So that's why I started using this network, and I believe it's going to grow as people get sick and tired of all the high Ethereum fees and the scam coins that keep coming out. Then they lock up those coins, and then, you know, let's see Celestia again, you know. Look at this. The circulating supply is only 160 million, yet they have 1 billion of them total. So once they drive up the price on these 160 million, like they're doing right now, they still have another 850 million to dump on your head and send this to the bottom after they've made their 10,000%, of course. So it's too late for you, the average retail person, to buy. But I know a place where none of this exists. I know a place where these people are not at. I know a place where there are no venture capitalists and special influencers, and it's on PulseChain. It's right here. PulseChain, there's none of them are there. None of them there. It's not on any major exchange. Grifters and scam artists and, you know, people of ill repute. I mean, you got the filthiest of the filth that is in Ethereum and Bitcoin. And you're not going to get rich in Bitcoin anyway because you need $40,000 a coin. So, if I were you, and I'm not telling you what to do. You can do whatever you want with your money. You can stay on Ethereum if you want to and pay those exorbitant fees. But I would look at other options like this. And that's what I did. And believe me, it wasn't easy because I got used to Ethereum and I didn't want to leave Ethereum. And that's the only reason why I was buying Hex on Ethereum, as you can see right here. Ethereum is because I was just used to Ethereum. It was just easier to use. And even in the article I showed you earlier, on the video at the bottom, I was showing people how to buy and stake on the Ethereum network. And then something happened. What happened was the fees, the exorbitant fees that I was paying to end my stakes on Ethereum just wasn't worth it. And I said, I'm going to move everything over to PulseChain and stake it there. So that's what I do now. Now I'm staking it on PulseChain. And I use like ICSA to do that. I stake right here. And it reminds me, I want to show you guys a couple of cool sites. Coast is another thing that I buy at. Coast, you can use US dollars and you can deposit. You can deposit using Wise. You can use wire transfer, ACH. But you can deposit US dollars and then buy immediately directly on the PulseChain network. That's another thing I did. I can buy PulseChain. I can buy PulseX. I can buy Hex directly from US dollars once you deposit some money in there. So you deposit some money in there, and then it's already on the PulseChain network. This is the easiest way to buy. Other than that, you'd have to do it on like an Ethereum network, and then bridge it over using a PulseChain bridge, which is right here. And you'll have to pay the Ethereum network fees for that, and then it'll bridge over to the PulseChain network, and then you can just do whatever you want from there, and you'll have it stored on your hardware, your wallet. And that leads me to buying a wallet. First of all, if you're going to store anything and stake things for, anything more than 6 months or a year or something like that, I highly, highly recommend using a TREZOR. I use TREZOR, and it's because, I've been fish hacked, where I clicked the wrong link in an email, and the person was able to get I get my keys, and I got fish hacked, like I said. Clicked on the wrong link, and the person was able to get access to my MetaMask account, and the little bit of hex I had at the time was a couple years ago. They stole it. But had I had it on my TREZOR wallet, which is a hardware wallet, even if they had my keys, they still wouldn't be able to get it, because they would have needed access to my TREZOR wallet, which they do not have, because you have to have it in your hand, and they don't have that. So they still wouldn't have got it if I had had it in a TREZOR. So what you do is you can use it through MetaMask, since I use MetaMask. I use MetaMask to set up a TREZOR address. It sets up a new address through TREZOR. So it's actually being stored on TREZOR through MetaMask, and MetaMask becomes a bridge for your hardware wallet. And I highly, highly recommend that. That's what everybody should be doing. So when I stake on here, I actually stake through my TREZOR wallet, not through just straight MetaMask. And here's another one I do that on. It's called pulsedrip.io. And again, I'm going to put these links to these sites. And this is where you can stake your Pulse, because I don't know anywhere else you can stake your Pulse. And I can also stake PulseX, which is what I've got going on right here. And there's some other things that you can stake, which is Atropa, Teddy Bear. These things are on the PulseChain network. And it's much safer if you use a hardware wallet. So, another swapping site, besides the Pulse swapping, Pulse Swap, is it's called Piteas. It's app.piteas.io, and I'll have this link down in the video as well, and it looks like this. So you can just go here and you can swap coins as well once you're on the PulseChain network. Yeah, so the fees are so much less. You'll only pay pennies for exchanges rather than dollars and tens of dollars and even hundreds of dollars that you spend on Ethereum. You switch everything over to PulseChain, and you'll get away from those high Ethereum fees. And I think a lot more people are going to do this. People are already starting to catch on. People are already doing this, which is how I caught on. So I was like, wait a minute, what are people doing to get rid of these Ethereum fees? I'm sick of them. And they are moving over to PulseChain is what they're doing. And PulseChain is like a small city. If Ethereum is like New York City, is it a nice city to live in? Yeah. Is it extremely expensive? Yes. Is it extremely expensive to buy property there? Yes. So I'm moving over to PulseChain. PulseChain is like a small branch that turns into a big city later, because that's what Ethereum was. That's what Bitcoin was. Bitcoin was a little outhouse at one time when everybody thought it was a scam. Remember, back in 2009, 2010, Bitcoin was just a little outhouse. So was Ethereum. Ethereum back in 2010, 11 was this very small shack that became the equivalent of a New York City. Well, that's what PulseChain is now. PulseChain is that shack that you can now get into as a retailer who doesn't have much money, and you can start buying your assets here and staking them here and using this network. Because the more people that PulseChain has, that's what gives value to the network. It's not the technology, and I learned something from the last 10 years because I used to believe it was the technology, you know, and I would hold on to Bitcoin that I should have sold because I thought, well, it's the technology. We love the technology. Well, people don't give a rat's ass, excuse my language, about the technology. They care about making money. All right. So, but they didn't join early enough. People only buying now that it's over $20,000, $30,000, and now you need $40,000. Well, you could have got it for pennies. Well, this is the chain that you can get for pennies that works actually better than Bitcoin. The technology is better. It's safer. It's more secure. It's never had any inflation bugs. Bitcoin has. Bitcoin's had 2 of them that we know about, where people can mint unlimited amount of Bitcoin, and they did. You can research YouTube to find out videos about that. That's never happened on PulseChain. PulseChain is a Hex. The Hex is using the PulseChain network. Hex is 4 years old now. Never had any flaws. It's been working flawlessly. No inflation bugs. Very secure. And you can make it more secure by doing it through your MetaMask or Trust Wallet / a hardware wallet. In a hardware wallet, I'm going to take you to, let's go to MikeJanty.com / TREZOR shop. And it's going to take you to where you can buy a TREZOR. Okay. Because I'm using my link, obviously. And here's the latest one they came out with, TREZOR Safe 3. But I highly recommend getting one of these. It's just, you need it. You know, I don't care. Don't forget it. Don't worry about the little price you got to pay for this. And believe me, it's more than worth it. So many people lose their crypto. I lost crypto because I didn't have this at the time. And even when I had it, I didn't have it set up through my MetaMask. So I wasn't using it properly. And I learned the hard way that I should be using this. And I found out how to hook it up to my MetaMask. It's really easy. But here, you go offline, you own 100% of your coins, your wallet's 100% safe offline. Even if someone gets your keys to your MetaMask, they cannot get into this because they need your TREZOR to get this. So that's why I highly recommend this now. Plugs in just like that to your computer or laptop. It's awesome. Safe. They do regular updates on it. There's other things that make it even more secure that you can buy. Crypto plates in there and stuff like that. Yeah, the TREZOR Safe 3 is $79. The highest model, which stores a bunch of other stuff like Matic and things like that, Litecoin. TREZOR Model T has that for $179. The TREZOR Model 1, this was the original one. This is the one that I have. It doesn't store anything except Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, yeah. This one uses stuff like Zcoin, you know, Polygon Matic. It has a bunch of other things it's compatible with. TREZOR Safe 3, I don't know anything about it. It just came up. But you'll have to do your own research. Again, if you want to use my link, go to MikeJanty.com / TREZOR shop. And it'll take you to this page where you can explore all that stuff. But that is definitely, I couldn't recommend this enough. This would have saved me. And I know other people, you can read stories. You can just Google them. People will tell you they lost millions. I was reading a story about how someone lost $25 million out of their MetaMask because they did not have TREZOR set up. And so that's it. So again, let's recap. I'm moving everything over to PulseChain, all the stuff that I like and care about anyway. Because number one, it's safer, more secure, and number two, there's all the grifters and scam artists and, you know, very greedy demonic people are not using this network. The big exchanges and the big you know, banks are not using this. They're all into Bitcoin now. There was a time when I recommended Bitcoin because those people were not there, and I loved it at the time. It's still a good place to be, but only if you have a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money, you need to be over in PulseChain. It's that simple. It's that simple. And there are no special people getting huge amounts of PulseChain. We got we got it for free when it first came out. If you had some Bitcoin in your wallet, you were given PulseChain for free if you wanted it. I didn't know about it then either, but now the price is still so low, you can just buy it yourself, and you're still getting it at the same prices that a lot of us got it for when it first came out. So, which is not the case with things like Celestia that I showed you. You can't get it for .005 cents anymore. Now you need 15 bucks. Well, guess what? PulseChain still costs only .00 Hex. Let me go look at Hex. Hex, even if you're buying on the Ethereum network, it's only going to cost you less than a penny. 0.008. This actually went up as high as 56 cents in 2021. And it's back down under a penny. This is your chance to start buying Hex, accumulating Hex. That's what I'm doing. Not telling you what to do. No, do your own due diligence and all that, but I'm telling you, this is what I'm doing because it's cheap. Everything else is so expensive and scammy, and this is something that's cheap. It's been out for 4 years. It's working on a great network that's actually technically superior to Bitcoin network. That one hasn't been updated at all, but people are all over it. This one's, much better, faster, higher throughput, higher everything. It's technologically superior, and now it's working on the Pulse network, and there's nobody over there. It's like a little shack in the desert. Same as Las Vegas used to be. Las Vegas was just a little ranch that became Las Vegas. Well, that's what PulseChain is. PulseChain is that little ranch, and the more people that start to come, the more the city builds up, and it becomes something like a New York City or Las Vegas. And that PulseChain is in the ranch stage right now. It's in the ranch stage. So this page, PulseChain.com, shows you how to add this network to your MetaMask. And then, like I showed you, you can use swapping sites like DodoX to buy things on Ethereum and then bridge them over using the PulseChain bridge, which you can go to PulseChain.com and either click this bridge link, and it's going to take you to bridge.pulsechain.com, and then that's how you bridge stuff from Ethereum over to PulseChain using the PulseChain bridge here, which is right here. And when you're on PulseChain, what you do is you just go to MetaMask and you switch over to the PulseChain network because you've added it with these credentials right here. Then you switch over to the PulseChain network. You go up to your MetaMask and you would just go to PulseChain. And, this is the Pulse that I put in there already because you need Pulse to operate on the PulseChain network just like you need Ethereum to operate on the Ethereum network. Only this is only a couple of dollars here. This is not, if this was Ethereum, I would need $58,000. But instead, this equals like less than 10 bucks. So this is plenty enough to do many transactions. I can do probably hundreds of transactions with this amount of Pulse, and it costs me less than 10 bucks. So that's what I'm talking about. Ethereum, that's going to cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars. Who the hell wants that? So I'm sick of Ethereum. So I'm moving everything over to Pulse, and I'm using the main coins that I think are pretty cool to buy and stake because they're really, really cheap, and that is Hex on the PulseChain network, Pulse, which you need Pulse anyway because that's what the fees are all charged in is Pulse. So you got to buy Pulse anyway. And then, but if you want to move into Hex and PulseX, and if you want to store US dollar coin there, you can do that. You want to store DAI. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and get DAI because I want to know how do I get. Here's PDAI, right? This is the contract for PDAI. So I'm going to copy that token and I'm going to add it into my MetaMask because I don't have it there. But I'm on the PulseChain network. It says right here, PulseChain, and my MetaMask account. And now I'm going to import token and I'm going to paste the address in there. And there it is. It found it. Hit next. There's DAI. This is PDAI or DAI from the PulseChain network. It's not eDAI. I don't want Ethereum. If I moved from Ethereum eDAI over to PulseChain PDAI is what I did. So now, in order for it to show up in your wallet, you got to add it using the contract address. And then what I did is I just went to the PulseChain bridge and I put in the coin I wanted. And then right here, it gives you the contract for the one on PulseChain. And then you can put it in your PulseChain network inside your MetaMask account. And that's what the P is for, is PulseChain. So there's DAI now. Now if I want to buy more DAI, I can buy it right here inside of PulseChain. Or if I want to switch something, let's say I want to, move out my hex at some point in the future and swap it over, I would just go here and I would say I want to swap hex. Not hex from Ethereum, but P hex, which would be here. And then I would, well, this is a bridge, but here, I go to I go to Piteus right here. Swap. This is a real swap, another alternate swap. So I app.piteus.io and say I wanted to switch over to DAI. I would just do that. And I'm still in, all of this is done within PulseChain. It says right up here. This is the PulseChain network. See, PulseChain. So I'm over to PulseChain network. I can switch into any of these coins that I want, swap into them. So let's say I had some people do have 50 million hex. Let's say I had 50 million hex and I want to put in the PDAI at some later date when hex gets bigger in price. This is all I would do. I would swap it over right here. Then I could swap it back into Ethereum to sell it someplace else if I want, later on. But right now, you do all your swapping in PulseChain because it costs you a lot less. And then you can switch it over to Ethereum later on when you're ready to completely get out of the game and you have a lot more money than you used to have. So that's it. This video was now over 40 minutes long. But I really wanted to impart upon you the importance, especially if you are a smaller retail crypto buyer, which is what 90% of the market is, and you're really sick and tired of Ethereum fees, and you're really sick and tired of all the scams, and now you have very greedy, demonic people who are in the game on Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and they are, playing this game. They are giving tokens to their friends, and only telling you about it after it's already gone up 1,000 times. And that's the first time you've seen it. If you're sick of those games like I am, come over to PulseChain Network, okay? The water's fine. We're building this network up on our own without all the grifters, without all the scammers, without all the big money, demonic interests. They're not here. They don't know anything about it. This isn't on any centralized exchange yet. It isn't on Coinbase. It isn't on OKX. It isn't on Binance. Not even the European version. That's certainly not on the United States version. But it's not even on the European side of Binance. So this is how you buy it. You just buy it through these small swaps and swap sites, like this. And Dodo Exchange. You can buy it on Ethereum and you can swap it over later. Or you can use a site like Coast here. And I'll put these links underneath my video. And you can buy it directly with US dollars after you deposit it using Wise or Revolut or wire transfer or ACH or an Ethereum stablecoin deposit. You can deposit the cash to these, and once that money shows up, and it could take a day or two, you can then go ahead and buy directly Hex or Pulse or PulseX directly, and you'll have it sitting in you're just going to have to actually put this in your MetaMask wallet, and then you're going to have to switch your network to a hardware wallet, create a new hardware wallet address through MetaMask, and you'll have it even safer. So that's what I recommend. And again, I'm going to put these links, and here's a couple of cool sites. I mentioned this Pulse Drip. This is one of the places where you can actually stake your Pulse and PulseX, which is really cool. And another one called ICSA.pro, where you can actually stake your Hex and receive head drawn and ICSA. Hedron is another token that's on the PulseChain network. Let's go see what it looks like. So here's Hedron. Again, it's like at 0.000006025. And this is its monthly chart. You can see it, like, lately it started going up, but still nothing from what it was a year ago. Back March of 2023, that was its last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, 32, and now it's all the way down here. So you can stake this. If you stake Hex on the site, you'll get free Hedron. It'll accumulate Hedron for you, as well as while it's staking Hex and accumulating more Hex for you. And then they have one for ICSA too, but you have to buy. You have to get ICSA. You can actually buy this on the Ethereum network, swap it over to the PulseChain network, and then you can stake it here and get more ICSA. Did I show you ICSA? ICSA is this one, and ICSA is 19.5 cents right now. This is what it looks like over the past month. So look at this. ICSA has been really killing it for this past month. Goodness gracious. Again, this is on the PulseChain network. People don't know about these. But this is where it was a year ago. It was at 91 cents. Almost 92 cents back last February. So about a year ago, I mean, you can see that this is, it just went down. So you're getting a steal here. Why buy Ethereum and Bitcoin and all these like stupid scam coins that even the legitimate ones are being dumped on you after they've already collected 1000x on you, and you're just buying it for the first time because you don't know any better, because you weren't invited to the ICO when it was pennies. They only give it to you when it's dollars now. Well, why don't you buy something that's still in pennies and was already at its all-time high, and all of the supply is there? I mean, look at the supply. Total 60. It's already there. All of it's circulating. Well, actually, we can't tell looking at here, but in Pulse and PulseX, it's the same thing. Hex circulating. Supply. You got total supply. Oh yeah. Got 173 billion. Yeah. But none of that is factored into the price, because the price is still under a penny, so which is cool. But things like Celestia, TIA, this is incredible, because I mean, only 160 million are causing this price of $16, and yet they have all this supply still. That means they're going to dump on your head later on, and they've already done that because they're up. These people were buying it at pennies. They were buying it at the same price that Hex was. They were buying at these prices here. So why don't you just go to Hex and buy it at those same prices and then wait, And while you're waiting, you can go ahead and stake it on here with your hardware wallet. Stake it here on your hardware wallet, collect free Hedron and additional Hex, and build this network. That's what we're doing. All right. This is Mike J. Anthony, and I will see you on the next video.